You know what we're doing, don't you? Look out there. Is that your people? That is your people. Hi, everybody. It's Robert Earl out here at the Eco Ranch Sustainable Living Education Center, along with Cascade the Wonder Dog, who's wondering where he can go to get out of this 101-degree heat today. Hey, this is probably should be the very first of the videos at the Sustainable Living Education Center, because it's going to cover the 3 R's of sustainable living. That's our #1 mantra, and all the mantras are, it's just a fancy word that I happen to like for my sayings, the sayings I want to use to identify what we're doing here. So one of our mantras, the main mantra, the #1 mantra, is the 3 R's of sustainable living. Now, what are the 3 R's of sustainable living? Reuse, repurpose, recycle. Reuse, repurpose, recycle. Reuse it if you can reuse it. If you can fix it up and reuse it, reuse it. If you can't fix it up and reuse it, then take it and repurpose it as something else. And if you can't repurpose it, then tear it down into its component parts and recycle it. Reuse, repurpose, recycle. And that's what we've got going on here today. And I'm looking for Cascade because Cascade is one example of repurposing, of reusing something, right? Right. Well, how do you reuse a dog? Well, surprisingly, to those of you that have followed our other videos, Cascade was just dumped, abandoned on the streets in Alpine, Texas. It happens everywhere. Alpine's a tiny little small town. Everybody's friendly. Most of the time, you don't need to worry about locking your doors or anything. But we have the same kinds of problems on a much smaller scale than the rest of you. Somebody dumped this wonderful dog. He went to animal control. Now, animal control in most cities, they got a 3-day life expectancy and then they go down. But they couldn't seem to bring themselves to put him down. So they kept him. He kind of became the mascot around there in the police station for, a while, until he got to be about 7 months old. And along came a couple of weirdos that needed a flock guardian for their birds. Well, he's part Great Pyrenees, we know that much. Absolutely fantastic flock guardians. So he got reused. He got taken and reused as our flock guardian. Couldn't ask for a better dog. Now that's one example of the 3 R's of sustainability. But there's a lot more, and I'm going to show you here as we go along. You know, though, I like being alive in the 21st century. I like all the things we have going on, but what I don't like is the way that we've taken some really great sayings and things and overused them to the point where they become trite. Oh, here comes the wind. Hear it? I hope you don't, but I won't know until I edit this. So I'll just speak up. One of those sayings that's become trite, overused, and you just kind of tune it out when you hear it is thinking outside of the box. And that's a damn shame, because that's probably one of the best sayings that's come along outside of the 3 R's of sustainability. If you step up and look down at the little box that you live in, and then look outside of it for an answer, that answer is your first step in reusing, repurposing, and recycling things. Because now you're out of the box that says toss it in the trash, and you're into a bigger box that says, wait a minute, why can't I reuse it or repurpose it? And so that's the #1 thing that we try to teach here and impart on you, whether it be through these videos or whether you're lucky enough to come here in this beautiful 102-degree heat, and enjoy the desert, the lack of neighbors, and our company as we show you how to live sustainably. But here's the thing. If you walked away from everything I could possibly teach you with only one thing, I would want that one thing to be reuse, repurpose, recycle. Because if you do just that, I'm willing to bet that you'd be lowering your carbon footprint by 50%. And if everybody in America did that one simple, non-painful, economical thing and lowered their carbon footprint, their household carbon footprint by 50%, think of the resources we save, number one, and think of the fossil fuels we are not burning to build and transport those things. It's amazing. Just that one thing. The number one mantra of the Eco Ranch Sustainable Living Education Center. Reuse, repurpose, recycle, and remove the wind, please. I know you guys are hearing that wind and there's nothing I can do about it. So let me get a little bit closer to you if I can not trip and show you. We're looking here out at an example of using the 3 R's. I just got back from Alpine where I picked up 3 dead apple trees. One of them was dying and happened to be loaded with apples. 3 apple trees. Now, part of that apple tree wood is going to go for running the rocket stove. A lot of it's going to go for smoking different foods and things because apple wood, as everyone knows, is a great smoking wood. But at the very bottom are some really big hunks of the trunk. And I'll show you in a few minutes what we're going to do with that. But let me just show you here while the wind has died down. I've got the pallets. You can see all the pallets stacked up. These pallets are things that we are recycling and repurposing. We're not reusing them as pallets because we have no need for pallets. I have all the pallets here. I don't know if from your angle you can see my great big tire ring full of bottles, but as you know, we build with bottles. That's repurposing. Repurposing the bottles, and sometimes I crack them and squench them up and use the broken glass as fill, which is repurposing. Then over here, next to these pallets that are just kind of thrown in a pile, I've got a bunch of construction debris that I've gotten from various contractors around here. And if you're if you're anyone in the area and you're watching these videos, I can always use and I will always take a load of wood or construction debris. I'll always take that from you because what I can't reuse, I'm going to repurpose. And what I can't reuse and repurpose, I'm going to recycle. And in this case, I have a big pit where if it can't be used, I'm going to throw it in that pit, fill that pit up, and then cover it up with dirt. So there's my construction debris, my apple tree that I've got to unload, all the pallets, all the bottles. Let me get that done, and we're going to get down to these trunks, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with those tree trunks in a minute. And the apples that were on this apple tree, they're green apples. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with them, and since there was a pear tree right next to it, I also got a whole bunch of pears. I got about a half a bushel combined. I'll show you what we're going to do with that in just a few minutes. Well, I've got you a bit off center right now because I don't want you to see what's over there just yet. Here's one of the 4 pieces of the base of the trees that we have. One of the 3, excuse me. I also have the 4th piece that I cut a little higher up, but I've got the 3 bases. One of them here, this is a smaller one. I've got a big one that's shorter over just out of your sight, and the great big one that's, again, out of your sight. So we're working on it, been working on it for 2 days. And in that time, I've got something else I wanted to just kind of throw in here. It's really off of what we're talking about in terms of the reuse, repurpose, recycle. But, you know, this is the way my videos go, is I'll go off topic, and if you're one of those people that just doesn't like that, or you want a 30-second blurb, well, you know, you're in the wrong place, gang. But here's what occurred to me. You know, we talk an awful lot nowadays, and rightfully so, about heroes, American heroes. And of course, the military, that's a given. And I just had a friend here for 2 days, and you might remember him from the video where if you search my videos for Dom, D-O-M, Dom Rock, that's a scene out of the movie Fandango, you'll meet in there Ruben. Ruben helped me install the French doors. Ruben's one of our American heroes. He's been in government service for 22 years, first in the military, in the Navy, and now he's still in government service as a civil servant. going to retire out of there. And yes, he was injured and is a disabled veteran. That's always a given. But you know, the world has unsung heroes that are every bit as important as people like that. And I'm going to introduce you to one in a few minutes, but I'm not going to embarrass him by talking about him in the video. So I'm talking about him now while he's still sleeping. It's still early in the morning. And you might remember him too from another video. It's Jeremy, who was here earlier in the winter. And Jeremy was here for, I believe, 3 weeks. Had a great time. He's the fellow that built the beautiful arch to the chimney on the new power room, mechanical room that we built. Well, Jeremy's back just for a few days helping me out. We'll cut to him in a few minutes. But here's a real American hero. This is a guy that's 27 years old, and he's taken a year out of his life not to join the Peace Corps, not to join the military, not to try to run for public office. He's taken a year out of his life to help the victims of the hurricane along the Texas coast. He's working as a volunteer. He's now getting paid, but he was working as a volunteer, helping to rebuild the houses, to remediate all the storm damage, remove the wallboard and the insulation and put it back up, to help the people that truly lost a lot, not only there but also in Houston. That's what he's been doing for the last year. Not thinking of himself, he's sacrificing beginning a career, because, you know, 27, that's getting long in the tooth nowadays to start a career, but he's sacrificing starting a career, a relationship, maybe even a family, to help out people he's never met, but they'll always remember him. To me, that's a hero. That's an American hero. That's a worldwide hero. And it reminds me that we can do things like that, and that's what Debbie and I are trying to do in our own way here, to help motivate and help you folks to realize that we have to do something, or we or our children or grandchildren may not have a planet that we would recognize. They may be alive in it, but they may not be able to recognize it. So each in our own way. Remember, that reminds me of that old Don McNeil's Breakfast Club that was on the radio when I was born. He used to say about prayer, he'd say, each in his own words and each in his own way. Well, each in our own words and each in our own way, let's get out and be a worldwide hero. Now, next scene, I'll show you what Jeremy's been doing, and you are going to be absolutely amazed at that, and then we'll end the video there. Oh, hey. Well, I'm busy routing for the door. I'm routing out the tongue and groove on this door so that I can put it together and keep moving forward. But geez, I've got about 60 pieces left to do here, so I should... What the heck is that noise? Let's go check that out. Oh, it's Jeremy. Jeremy, what are you doing?
Squaring up a lintel.
Aha!
Big old piece of apple wood.
It's pretty easy to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it only took me 2 days.
Like I said, Jeremy is back here. He's on his vacation from his volunteering. Go ahead and finish it up. We'll watch you.
All right, here it comes.
Woohoo! How about that?
All right.
So just has very little to do with our mantras, and but what this is going to be the lintel above one of our doors in the master bedroom. Not door, windows in our master bedroom. We've got to pick a pretty side and just put it out, and this lintel will support the weight of the stone above it. And Jeremy will be long gone by then.
I'll be back.
Well, I hope he comes back. He does some absolutely beautiful work when he's here. And I'll tell you what, this was hard work. He worked all day yesterday on 3 cuts and finished this last cut just now. So anyway, speaking of finishing, why don't we finish this video up? Well, Jeremy and I went ahead and moved that lintel over. It's got to dry in the sun because that particular one was still halfway alive. So it's going to dry in the sun for, gosh, a month, maybe 2 months before I'm ready to put it above the window, because we don't even have the wall up yet. That'll be in some future videos on the main channel. But I hope you got kind of a feel for how we do things around here, and we talked about a couple of what I'm going to call the mantras, but that's going to be the ways that we help people to remember how to live how to live the way I want them to, sustainably. Because I guarantee you, you're never going to forget now how to do what? Reuse, repurpose, recycle. In that order. If you remember it in that order, we're going to be well on our way to at least maybe mitigating or slowing down some of the damage that we've been doing to the planet. And as you're getting into doing those things, kind of keep your eye on what you do with plastics and start looking at everything. The more you look, and this is what I found, the more I started looking at things and trying to find ways to be a little bit different, the more I became a little bit more different. What you've seen here is just some of it. This was all pallet wood that was out in a pile destined for the landfill. Instead, we're turning it into a door. Those 3 trees, had I not taken those 3 trees, they were headed for the landfill. And now, not only are they some good smoking wood for us, but they're also going to be 3 good lintels and a beautiful handmade hardwood table, dining room table. And that's going to be a completely different and separate video. So I hope you guys will stick around for all of those. And I hope you'll continue to follow the Eco Ranch Sustainable Living Education Center as I do my best with what little knowledge I have to teach you how to live just a little more sustainably. Because if we can get everybody to do, let's say 25% better, everybody in every developed country in the world, I think we can mitigate a lot of the damage. You know, we're never going to get to 350 like 350.org, but if we can hold it at 425 and maybe 4 degrees of global temperature rise, maybe the world won't be quite so different. The world we give to our grandchildren. Stick around. Let's see. Put some of these principles into play, and until then, it's Robert Earl out here at the Eco Ranch Sustainable Living Education Center saying, I'll see you guys later.